How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Deadline with Dayvy live stream here on the channel. This live stream is going to be everything blank Gameweek 36 related, so appreciate the questions already in chat. Obviously, throughout the live stream, I'll be getting to all your guys' questions as well as addressing my own squad. On the screen there, you can see the current lineup and how we're doing. But unfortunately, I haven't made any transfers. So unfortunately, fortunately, I'm going to be doing some live transfers for you guys here today. And kind of finalizing the blank game week 36 squad. Hopefully we get 11 players, but I don't think we'll get to that point. I think we might get to about 10 players in total. But I will be probably taking a -4 hit. So tonight, we're probably going to be making 3 transfers. 2 of them are a little bit self-explanatory. If you guys did watch the team selection video that I dropped yesterday, basically the Everton assets are going to come in for that really nice fixture against Sheffield United. And then we'll probably be taking a -4 hit either to bring in someone like Bamford or to bring in someone like Maguire, and then we'll talk about captaincy a little bit later on as well. So as Harry says there, what's the situation with Forster, my man? So that's probably why I'm expecting about 10 players at the moment. So if you guys don't know with Southampton, what Hassan Hutel, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, what he does is he rotates his keepers. I don't really understand why. A lot of managers just generally stick with the one keeper because that kind of keeps up their form. But Southampton are not like that. So McCarthy, Forster rotate, and because Forster played both of the games in double game week 35, that basically confirms that McCarthy is going to start the next 2, in my opinion. So it's a little bit tough in that case whether to take like a -4 hit because maybe McCarthy gets injured and then Forster plays anyway. Maybe Forster plays anyway because he saved a penalty. We don't kind of know, but I don't think I'll be taking a -4 hit for Forster, and then obviously Mendy doesn't play. So that's why I kind of predict 10 players, but the ceiling isn't usually that high for a goalkeeper. So I don't think it's worth a -4 hit in my opinion. A lot of how's it, guys. So I appreciate the greetings and how you guys are adapting to it. Thanks for the greetings, and now you can kind of get onto the questions if you guys have anything. How's it, Owen? How you doing, buddy? Yash there with the super chat to start off the stream. He's listed his team and he's saying 1 free transfer, no chips, no funds, suggestions. So in terms of your squad there, it does look like you have. How many players do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So counting with Dayvy on this live stream. So in terms of the players that you have, you've got 11 players anyway. So I probably would be tempted to maybe just hold in that case. You have no funds. So the players that I would take out aren't of too much concern there. So, I mean, yeah, sure, team looks perfectly fine for this upcoming game week. I would just bank that transfer. If I counted incorrectly, which I actually didn't count incorrectly, then you should be fine for this game week. Henry asking, is Foden going to be benched? So my kind of prediction would be that Mahrez and Foden play. There's been some, not rumors, some predictions now that KDB is out injured. That the rotation of the squad could happen and maybe they play someone like an Aguero, Jesus up top, so that maybe means Foden's out of the squad. But in terms of my moves, I would kind of predict that Foden and Mahrez start. So I would be quite confident in that. And I mean, Foden's a lot cheaper than Mahrez is, so it's not too much of a risk if he doesn't end up starting. Ahmed saying, show us the way, Davey. Hopefully I'll show you the way. Maybe in the middle of the season it was a good way, but now we kind of have had some green arrows, had some red arrows, so not on the top of things right now. The beautiful game saying Rafinha and Calvert-Lewin in for Nacho and Rashford. So I would be comfortable with those moves, but the only thing about Rafinha right now is that there's been some speculation that maybe he won't play. That's just after him coming back from quite a long-term injury, and maybe his match fitness is not looking at the optimum level. I know that the Leeds manager today said that he might not play, he might play. Usually the Leeds manager is pretty honest, to be honest, so I think that he should be fine in that case. So in terms of his words, he kind of mentioned that Rafinha would be benched. But if you have him, I would just keep him. But if you're going to bring him in, I don't know how confident I would be on that. But I mean, it is Rafinha. If he starts on the bench, he'll get some minutes off the bench anyways. And I mean, Leeds have great fixtures from now to the end of the season anyway, so that should be fine. Ahmed also saying, Mahrez captain, what do you think? It's worth it. So that's kind of the thing that I've been thinking about. If I was to go for Mahrez, I would seriously be considering captaining him. And that's just because I'm looking for kind of like a differential. I'm currently sitting, we managed to get basically a grey arrow, and I was really happy at it because I didn't own Bruno Fernandes. And after he scored that penalty and that deflection, I was seeing red arrows in my opinion. So it was a little bit of a red arrow. I think it was about 1k places. But considering, as I said, no Bruno Fernandes captain, I think I'll take a grey arrow any day of the week. But in terms of that, I kind of want to boost up to that top 10k, and I kind of feel like this might be the game week or one of the last game weeks to really go for it. But my kind of thinking now is that I think the majority of people will go with Salah captain. So if you don't go with Salah captain, that might be quite a hit if he manages to bang. And I mean, that fixture against West Bromwich Albion, it's not kind of as confident as I would have been if maybe Kane was the best option, because I think that Wolves game might be a little bit closer maybe than the West Brom game will be. So I'm kind of in two minds here of whether to go for Mahrez captain or not, or whether to just play it safe with Salah. But the thing about it is, if you guys aren't really happy with your rank and you need a differential, Mahrez provides that perfect option, because I do think he's about 80% certain to start. And I mean, it is against Newcastle, and City have quite a history of putting a couple of goals past Newcastle. So I think that you guys should be quite comfortable with going with that punt. Obviously, it is a Friday night deadline. If you guys are kind of superstitious on the first match of the game week, usually don't go for a captain, but I think this game week might be one of those exceptions. Owen asking, you think Salah starts? I do think Salah starts. I can kind of understand why there's been some rumors of a potential benching, and that's just basically because there's 4 striker/winger positions, and there's only 3 positions in the starting 11. They could always play Jota in that midfield slot or Firmino in that cam slot, but that wasn't too successful when Klopp did it a couple of weeks ago. So, I mean, in terms of Salah, I think that he could be benched, but I would probably say there's about a 90% chance that he starts, because I just think that that's the situation Liverpool are in. They've had a couple of days rest here. Salah's always wants to play. It's a similar situation with Mane and Jota and Firmino. They all want to play, but I think that Salah definitely will, because he's one of the more informed players, and at this stage of the season, Liverpool have to win to get that top 4 spot. So that's what I would kind of say, Owen. So you can kind of take my words with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because obviously I'm not a manager of Liverpool. I'm not a Jurgen Klopp, but I think that I would be pretty confident of him starting. Mahrez for Greenwood for a -4. So it all depends on if you currently have 11 starters. If you have 11 starters, then maybe don't try and take too many hits, because the majority of managers this week will be taking hits. So right off the bat, you kind of getting an advantage over those hit managers if you have a full starting 11. So it all depends on if you have a full starting 11. But if you don't have a full starting 11, I would probably take a -4 or -8 to get there, because I think there's a lot of fixtures that you guys can target with high upsides. Moko Foot saying, how's it, Dayvy? Are you considering Antonio? If I was to take out Iheanacho, I would look at Antonio, but I think that I probably would prefer Bamford in that case, because I just don't know. I think the Leeds fixtures are better. Leeds are more attacking side, so that's why I kind of favor Bamford. But I mean, Antonio is always a good player to go for. I've already got Lingard in my own team, so don't know how keen I am to kind of double up on that West Ham attack. Mohammed saying, is Dino worth a hit? He's worth the hit if you don't have kind of a full starting 11. And that's what I'm saying about, if you don't have a full starting 11, it's perfectly fine to take a -4, -8 to get there, because as with Digne, that's a high ceiling game for them in my opinion, and you can easily make that -4 hit. You can kind of account for it. Alexander saying, hey Davey, you guessed Wood over Lingard last week. Good job. No worries, Alexander. Appreciate the kind of comebacking, or you coming back and telling me that I was right. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of you that would come back and say I was wrong. So I appreciate you guys also not saying that. G-Bell saying, check my chat. No worries, buddy. I got you there. How's it, Davey? I've got your team, but Maguire, DCL, Bruno, and Soufal for Rudiger, Vardy, Rashford, and Cody. No funds. What would you recommend? So you already have DCL, so you're one step ahead. What I would kind of consider doing is taking Maguire out and then going for whatever you can afford. I think that's probably going to be Godfrey from Everton as a best fixture in my opinion. But what you could also do is you go for Dallas, which is probably what I would do in your situation. So take Maguire out, bring Dallas in. I don't know how you're looking for a starting 11 there, but I think that you might be close to one, G-Ball. So maybe just mention how many guys you have in your starting 11. Vardy to DCL, Dunk to Dallas, and Maddison/Fernandes to Salah/Mahrez. So what I would do there is I would consider who you want to captain. If you want to captain Salah, then go for the Salah move and take out Fernandes. If you want to go for Mahrez, as your captain and take out Maddison. But those 2 previous moves you spoke about, those are perfectly fine. That looks like a good moves to go for. Delboy saying Greenwood, Bruno, or Shaw, need to transfer out one of them. Who would you go for? So I would probably keep Greenwood as he's kind of cheap, not too much risk there in terms of playing. I would be tempted to take out Shaw or Bruno, but that's kind of what you got to think about, Del Boys. You got to think about the future game weeks. If you want Bruno against Fulham next game week, then keep Bruno. If you want to keep Shaw, then do that. It's just kind of a thing that you have to look at from your own point of view. Dinya and DCL confirmed, says JCCR. So those are the 2 transfers I'm really comfortable doing. So if you guys want to get some safe transfers, take out Vardy, and then I'm probably going to take out Rudiger as well, because I just think I'm a little bit tired of that kind of a Chelsea rotation that we have right now in terms of the defense. How's it, Dipta? How are you doing, buddy? Hopefully you're good. DCL or Salah captain? So I'll talk about captaincy now if you guys want to talk about it. Probably will refresh it later on when more people join, and then they'll ask me about captaincy as well. But captaincy at this stage of the season is super subjective to your own kind of side. So it's a very situational thing right now. What you got to do is you kind of got to look at your own ranking, look at your mini leagues. If you guys are comfortable with your mini leagues, you then captain a player like a Mo Salah, because he's going to be the most captain player. Probably in terms of probability, the people in your mini league will probably go from as well. So that's who I would go for. If you want to go more differential, I think that Harry Kane is going to be one of the safe differential options this week. But then you also consider a DCL and a Mahrez. In terms of Salah, Kane, Mahrez, and DCL, I think all 4 of those options are pretty safe in terms of points return. So although this week is going to be quite a stable week in terms of points, I think it's a nice week to go differential. So if you guys aren't happy with your rank, then definitely this is the week to kind of go for it and hopefully boost up the ranks if your captain manages to bang. Who do I take out for Iheanacho? Go for Antonio, Wood, or Bamford. That's kind of an open-ended question there, because those players are quite tough to pick between. But I think all 3 of those should probably get some consistent returns in the last couple game weeks. Tristan, also with a super chat saying, how's it, Dayvy? Taking a hit to get Salah in, but only left with 4.0 in the bank for a defender. Streak or Reece Williams? This is a tough one. I would be tempted to go for Reece Williams, but I think that Streak is probably the safer option to go for, because Leeds have good fixtures and also that Leeds defense has been better. But I just want to check who plays against Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace, if you guys haven't seen the news, Patrick van Arnold is going to be out for family reasons. So I'm pretty sure that Mitchell will play. But unfortunately, their game is against Aston Villa, and I probably would be more comfortable getting a Leeds asset or someone like that. But I don't know about this Liverpool game against West Bromwich Albion. I think that's going to be quite tough from a defensive point of view for Liverpool. So I think I'd have to go for a Leeds asset in terms of this. I think go for Streak, because there's always the off chance that maybe Klopp goes for Fabinho in midfield. We also have $2 from Chad here saying, I want to use my triple captain to win my mini league. Any tips? So Chad, it depends on where you are in your mini league. If you're currently leading your mini league, then I would use it on someone like a Mo Salah this week, because I think it's a great fixture to use it. You could always hold off and use it on the last game week of the season, because then you've kind of assessed your mini league in total, and you kind of know where you are with kind of the last game week to go. So then you can always use it on game week 38, which is probably the most advantageous, but I don't think it's the high ceiling kind of situation to use it in. But if you're currently chasing your mini league, then look at who you're chasing, look at the first place or second place, wherever you are, and then see the players on their side. And if they don't own a player that you think you can captain, then go for that in terms of boosting up the ranks. Luwazi saying apparently Foster's not playing. Yeah, I don't think he's going to play as well, but I mean, there's an off chance that maybe McCarthy gets injured as he walks off the bus for the game, and then Foster could play. But I'm just not going to be taking a hit this week. I just don't think the ceiling is that high for a goalkeeper. G-Ball, if I do Maguire to Dallas, my starting 11 will have 10 players. Forster, Lowton. So 4-3-2. So then take a -4 hit on another player. Take whoever you have in your lineup. You probably have Iheanacho. Take Iheanacho to someone like a Bamford. That could be quite well, G-Ball. Leeds or Southampton defense. Hashem, I would 100% go for Leeds. Southampton have been quite leaky in the back this season, so I wouldn't go for them. What's your plan for this week? Any City player, says YOLO Gamer. So the plan this week, if you guys are joining late on, it's going to be Rudiger out for Lucas Digne. It's going to be Vardy out for DCL. And then I still am a little bit undecided on that extra -4 hit. It's either going to be Rashford out for Mahrez, or it's going to be Iheanacho out for Bamford. And then if I bring in Mahrez, I could still captain him, but I'm currently leaning towards going for a Mo Salah captain. I just think that this week, I don't know, there's just a little bit of more speculation this week, but I still think that Mo Salah will start, and I think that West Bromwich Albion game is going to be quite good for Liverpool. No worries, Tristan. Thanks for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate it. Adam saying, hi, Dayvy. Who should I captain? Kane, Jota, Lingard, Bamford, or Wood? I need a differential to make up points in my mini league. I would go for Kane in that situation then. I mean, Kane's one of those interesting ones where I think maybe if you looked at it on paper, he would be a really good captain to go for, but I don't think many people will be going for him. I think that Salah in the top 10k, top 100k, I think maybe about 70% of people will probably go for him, but I don't know. My predictions are always a little bit off. But what we can do is I can go to my Twitter page here, and that's what I'll actually do. I'll go here and I'll just refresh. If you guys haven't voted, 840 votes, so I don't think everyone who follows me has voted on this one, but this is the blank Gameweek 36 captaincy poll that I put up, I think earlier today, on who you're going to be captaining. And as you can see, 62% of people went with the Mo Salah captain, and generally this is quite a good reputation on FPL Twitter of kind of the top 10k, top 100k. So you can see here that Salah's definitely going to be the most highly captained player. And then we got Kane at 16%, Mahrez/Foden at 14%, and then DCL at 8%. Now, this could always be a little bit of salt because people generally sometimes vote for players they're thinking about, but then at the deadline they choose a different player. But I think this should be fine in terms of getting a little bit of representation of what the week's going to look at. Maybe Godfrey instead of Dallas. That could also be something that you go for, G-Ball. Everton's fixture is a little bit more short-term because they do face Sheffield United, so you're probably going to be targeting that Everton game. But then in the future, the Leeds assets have better fixtures. So it just depends if you want a short-term punt or kind of going for a long-term punt. Barath saying Antonio or Bamford for Iheanacho. I favor going for Bamford. Who should I buy, Bamford or Mahrez? So that's currently my own dilemma. So I can't really answer that because I don't even have an answer for my own side. But I'd probably say that Mahrez has the higher upside this game week. But if you want a long-term transfer, then Bamford's probably better. Vincent saying keep Greenwood or Bruno for game week 37. Also, is Gareth Bale a good punt? So Vincent, it's a bit tough to kind of predict who's going to play this week. We've seen Cavani sometimes not be able to play the majority of minutes over a short time. So then you probably favor Greenwood to start. And then there's also quite a quick turnover from game week 36 to 37. I would probably keep Greenwood because I think if he doesn't start, he comes off the bench, whereas maybe one of those other options doesn't. But I think I'd personally keep Greenwood because he is quite cheap. Tyron Swart saying, how's it, Dave? You need to catch up on some mini leagues. Thinking Fernandes to Son/Mahrez -4 hit. In terms of that, I would go for Mahrez because I think the ceiling's a little bit higher on his side of things. Adam Being saying, happy Friday, Davey. So thank you, Adam, for reminding me. It is a Friday evening. So as always, I appreciate you guys joining me on a Friday evening. I know a lot of people generally go out. No, it is during COVID times. Maybe that's not a good kind of a suggestion. But as always, thanks for joining wherever you guys are around the world. And in terms of your question, Adam B, you're saying, which Man City defender would you go for to replace Maguire? So in my personal opinion, I think that Walker and Zinchenko will start. So I would probably favor one of those two assets. But in terms of kind of going for a player that is going to be nailed, it's got to be one of Diaz or Stones. I just don't know how you can afford. I think right now, Diaz is probably more expensive than Maguire, so if you don't have any money in the bank, then probably go for Stones. But in terms of that attacking output, I mean, Walker Zinchenko probably has to be where you look if you're looking to take a punt. Jack saying, I need to choose between Foden and Mane for captaincy. Thoughts? So Jack, you're definitely going differential there, buddy. But Foden, Mane, both of those are going to be good options. I don't really know what to say to you because, I mean, it's literally 50-50 between those two in my opinion. But, I mean, maybe look in your mini leagues and see who people don't own. But chances are they probably don't own Foden or Mane. So that's not even going to help you. But I honestly don't know in that situation. I probably would say Foden because Mane's form has been a little bit bad. And I think maybe the ceiling would be higher for Man City versus Newcastle. But both of those options are differential enough. David saying, sorry, joined late. What did I miss? How many hits we taking? Currently at 40k with 1 transfer and 8 fielded. So in terms of your own team there, David, I'll probably take I'll probably take 2 transfers to get a 10. If you don't have 11 players, it's not the end of the world. I think 10 should be fine. But if you have Forster, and that's included in that 8, I would probably take another hit. Murad saying DCL for captaincy. Definitely one of those options to go for if you want to go differential. I would be pretty confident with DCL getting an attacking return. It's just, I don't know how many goals Everton end up scoring, because they're not the type of side that ends up scoring 4 goals, 5 goals. Whereas if you look at a Man City, they could be the type of team that does that. Who's the best 5 million goalkeeper for the run-in? I think a safe option, Amir, is going to be going for Meslier from Leeds or going for Fabianski. I don't know if Fabianski's over 5 mil, so apologies for that, but definitely Meslier has good fixtures. Faltman to Digne or Neto to Foden. Doesn't Faltman have a game? So I would probably say Neto to Foden in that case, because I think players are quite hard to come by in this blank game week. Danny Ings, any updates? Says Honor. So currently, as I know, Danny Ings should be fine for this game week, but don't take that as gospel. Maybe go for some research. But as far as I know, Ings should be back. We have another $5 super chat here saying, what are your thoughts of Nacho to Bamford and Mendy to Pickford for a -4 to field 11 players? I already have Dallas for Leeds coverage. So that's perfectly fine. I just don't know about the Mendy to Pickford transfer, but I think if you're confident in starting Pickford for the rest of the season, I think that -4 it could be quite worth it, especially if you don't have a playing keeper. And that's the thing, is if you don't have a keeper, then it's only worth a -2 hit. But with my case, I have Forster here who could potentially play, so I don't know if I want to take a -4 in that case. You want to go for one of those differential captains, says Jason, and that's pretty honest that's pretty true, to be honest. At this stage of the season, I kind of have to get a differential if I want to go up to that top 10k, but also it's a little bit of a stretch, because I think it's about 50 points, 40 points, so I don't know if that's going to make up that much case. And I mean, Salah does have West Bromwich Albion, and I think he should score on that one. And then there's also the side of things where I am a Liverpool fan, so I kind of hate watching Liverpool play. And then if Salah scores, I kind of regret not captaining him. And that's just also one of the situations to kind of look at. Hi, Dayvy. Are you taking any hits? I will be taking a -4 hit. Currently, I think it's going to be for Mahrez, but it also could be for Bamford. But I think in terms of the ceiling in that kind of case, I would probably go for Mahrez in case. Night Watch saying, what's your transfer plan? So the transfer plan currently is to take Vardy out for DCL, take Rudiger out for Lucas Digne, and then take Rashford out for Mahrez. Marco saying, this is from Sam Lee on The Athletic about City 11. I wouldn't guess a strong team tonight, but just like last weekend, I would have guessed a strong team tonight, but just like last weekend, I am very wrong. So Marco, that is quite a cryptic quote there from Sam Lee from The Athletic. So I don't know how much we can look in that. What I probably will do is I'll go on Twitter probably about 10 or 20 past, just to get maybe some last minute news if we do get it, and then I'll kind of lock in the transfers. Phoenix saying, is Raul Jimenez fit? As far as I know, I don't think so. Alva saying, any signs of blackout in your area? I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. So Elvis, this week they stole my electricity cables, so I did have a blackout for one day, but luckily they managed to get fixed pretty quickly. But so far from that, I haven't had a blackout in my area, luckily. Is this a good game week to use the triple captain? Who would you suggest? This is a great game week to use the triple captain because if you want to go differential, there's super good options with great fixtures that are going to be lowly captained. A player like a DCL, a player like a Mahrez, a player like a Kane, I think all those players are going to be lowly captained. So if you want to go differential, mega week to go for it. But also if you want to kind of go safe, I mean, Salah's a great option to use it as well. But that's the current thing I think about. If you're going to be using your triple captain and you're chasing or you're leading your mini leagues, and mini leagues are really important, then I would probably hold off for it until the last game week of the season, because then you can see if you need to go differential, if you need to go kind of safe, whatever you kind of do. Light Ray saying, City rumors going around. So the one thing I will tell you guys is please be very careful about the rumors that you guys listen to, because sometimes there's a little bit of fake news here. I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to do an impersonation there of Donald Trump, but the fake news is sometimes around on FPL Twitter. And that's why maybe in 5 minutes, I'll go check Twitter for you guys and I'll kind of assess the rumors and what's kind of truthful or not. And then we can kind of make a decision on those transfers. How about Ward-Prowse as a differential? So let me just refresh my memory here on who Southampton are playing, because they are facing Fulham. I don't think I'd be comfortable with going with Ward-Prowse. That doesn't mean that he's not a good option, but I think there's better options to go for Winston. And I think in terms of Fulham are also the side that don't usually concede too many. Alexander saying, already have DCL and Wood. Moving Iheanacho for Ings or Antonio. Have money for both. I would say go with Antonio there. I just think that in terms of Danny Ings, I just worry that he might pick up another injury. And as I said, that Fulham game is not too great in my opinion. Victor saying, what chips do you have left? Victor, unfortunately, I have sweet nothing. No chips in my back pocket. So that's not going to be any good for the last couple of game weeks. But I've used them all pretty wastingly. I haven't made many points from my chips. 3 midfielders to have. The first one would be Salah. The second one would be probably Son. And then the third one would be someone like Mahrez for this week. Oladapo with another super chat here saying, I have 3 injured players and 3 blank players. Should I do a -8? Plan is to replace Iheanacho/Watkins, Dunk, Faltman with Bamford and Dallas. So 100% take out Iheanacho rather than Watkins because I think Watkins will play. But I can understand the Dunk and the Faltman moves, and I like those transfers that you have done. So Oladapo, I am giving you the go-ahead for that -8. Teddy, what are the transfers? Probably going to be Vardy, DCL, Mahrez, Rashford, and Rudiger, Lucas Digne. What are the chances of Mahrez playing, says Denver? To be honest, I'd be pretty confident in him playing. I'd probably say about an 80% chance of Mahrez starting. And my kind of thinking behind that is that you don't want your options to be rested too much, as the match fitness sometimes goes down, the match sharpness goes down, and with the Champions League final coming up, my kind of expectation would be that they play the Champions League side today, and then in the midweek next week, they play a rotated side, face Everton with a full strength side, and then go into that Champions League final with some good kind of match fitness. I just joined. Are you making any transfers? I will be making transfers. I'm just kind of waiting on that Man City if we potentially get some news about it. Yash again with a super chat saying Bruno and Phillips out for Foden/Rafinha and Trent Alexander-Arnold, or Mahrez and Dallas for -4. Kane and Phillips out for DCL and TAA. Got playing 11 without. So I wouldn't take Kane out this week. Yash, I would do the Mahrez and the Dallas moves. Just wait though until we potentially get some Man City news, because I don't know. I think there's a lot of rumors going around, so we could potentially get something. Foden or Gundogan, I would go with Foden. DCL for Bamford. No, I would keep DCL 100%. I would even potentially captain DCL, so don't go for that. If you're asking about taking Bamford out for DCL, I also wouldn't do that move. Son or Mahrez. So this is my current thinking on it. If I don't do Mahrez, I'll do Son, because I wanted to get Son in anyway because of these upcoming Spurs fixtures. But I think that Mahrez is the better punt to go for this week, and that's why I kind of have gone for it. Matteo, they're saying weekend City lineup. So what is a weekend City lineup though? Like, I can understand a weekend United lineup because we already saw that. It's a bunch of teenagers playing. But if you look at the Man City lineup and their bench could win the Premier League. So I mean, a weekend side for Man City is still a pretty good one. So like, what does that mean? Check out latest tweet regarding City lineup. So I will check that. Give me about 2 minutes and then I'll go into like kind of a Twitter frenzy and analyze all the news for you guys. Ings injury. As far as I know, Ings isn't injured. But what I'll do for you guys is I'll take a look for you guys. I'll kind of give you a little bit of a shout out here as to what I do for my injury news. This is Ben Krellin's website. I don't know if you guys follow Ben Krellin. If you're involved in FPL Twitter, you probably do. But he has a website called premierinjuries.com. And then if you go here to injury table, you can bring up most teams and they give you news. So as you can see, there's been no news about Danny Ings' injury. So I would be pretty confident on him starting. Chloe saying, hi Andy, captain Bale or Salah to get into the top 10k. So Chloe, you're on the wrong stream here. I do appreciate that you are calling me Andy. That's a big compliment, but this is the Dayvy FPL channel. But to answer your question, if you're chasing the top 10k, then you have to go with Bale because Salah is going to be highly captained. A differential for Iheanacho and Bruno, Mahrez, James, and then I would just go for Bamford. Mark S saying Foden plus Mahrez in Ings versus Antonio versus Bamford, free hit. I would say wait for about, okay, so as Rasmeet is saying, we do have some news for Twitter. So I'll check Twitter for you guys, Mark, and then I'll answer your question because it's very important to have a little bit of confidence that Foden and Maguire are going to be playing before you use your free hit. And in terms of Ings, Antonio, Bamford, I would play Bamford on a free hit, and I would definitely look at having one of those Man City assets. But let's go and take a look on Twitter. I usually don't like going on Twitter during my streams because then I do tend to go a little bit quiet, which isn't the best case. Okay, so Sam Lee has said, I would have guessed a strong team tonight, but just like last weekend, I am very wrong. So that's a little bit interesting to see there. But as I said, I don't really know what that kind of means. Okay, so apparently what Sam Leah said here is that Stones or Foden potentially won't be playing, but Mahrez might be. So that's something that like has kind of been mentioned here, but I don't really know if it's 100%. Like it's so hard to kind of predict what's going to be the starting lineup. Like, so people are saying I would probably avoid Mahrez then. Yeah, but like as I said, yeah, there's been no real confirmation of what exactly is going to be happening. But as I said, apparently Foden, Stones, those potential players don't look great, and then Mahrez potentially could be playing. That's what I currently get here. Yeah, but as I like, there's so many like things that we're going by. Nothing really is confirmed. But what I will do is I'm going to be doing those 2 transfers that I promised about doing Vardy and also doing Lucas Digne. So let's do those now while we wait for a little bit more news. And then also, if you guys do get news, you can always just post it in chat. We did have a super chat here from Arjun saying, whom to captain? DCL, Kane, Son, also Antonio Bamford. I would probably go Kane there, Arjun. And then Mark S. I think that you kind of have to not go with Foden or Mahrez, unfortunately. What you could maybe do is Sterling. Sterling might be a little bit of a punt. Sterling, Foden, Torres starting for sure. So if you guys aren't afraid, that's what you could do. Let me just do these other transfers quickly here before we mess up. It seems like these deadline streams are always a bit rushed, so I do apologize, guys. But unfortunately, there's nothing that I can do about it. It's just sometimes this news is a little bit rough. So I really get to Digne, Vardy to Calvert-Lewin. Those are going to be confirmed. Put the vice captain so long. Like that's the thing about Mahrez now is that I'm not too keen on going for it. As Glenn says there, no news from FPL Rockstar. And FPL Rockstar yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was so it kind of, we know where FPL Rockstar gets his news from. He gets his news from the release of the team sheets, which happened earlier, according to the app. And then they published the wrong lineup, so then he got it wrong. But as Glenn says, there's no lineups, but unfortunately, we won't get anything from Rockstar because he only gets the lineups about 10 minutes, 5 minutes before. Foden or Mahrez, so please, guys, if you do have those Man City assets, or if you're on a free hit or you want to take them in, just wait a little bit. You're probably going to have to wait as long as possible to get as much news as possible because potentially we have a big rotation from Man City, like maybe. I'm not going to say it's confirmed because I don't want you guys to roast me if it doesn't end up happening, but that's what it seems like. The thing is, though, that we're still going to be taking another minus for hit. It's either going to be Rashford to Heung-min Son, or it's just going to be Bamford in for Iheanacho. It's probably going to be Heung-min Son, though, to be honest. Like, that's just how I'm thinking currently. Andy's saying, get rid of Bruno for the rest of the season. I don't think I would be getting rid of Bruno for the rest of the season if I was in that situation, but I can see why you would want to, as you already have Greenwood. But you might be in a situation where Greenwood doesn't play this weekend or does play the next week or something like that. So it's a little bit tough to predict now, and we'll kind of only know that when we do it. Vincent saying, why Son not Bale? Is Bale captain a good punt? Do you think he'll start? I think he will start this game for Spurs, but I just always prefer Son. I just have a little bit of a soft spot. Salah could be rested. But I mean, I'm a little bit confident in him not being rested. Sterling says, Kieran, Sterling could be a nice punt, but I probably would only do that if I was going to either have enough money, maybe take out Bruno, or if I was on a free hit. So I'll go on Twitter now and take a look. And as I said, I do apologize for the silence. But we have some hectic things to go over in terms of this. Do you think taking a minus... Do you think Foster starts? I don't think Foster's going to start, so I don't think it's worth taking a -2 hit on him. There is 4 minutes left, luckily, so we still will be able to get some transfers. So as far as I can see over on Twitter, there's nothing much. There's nothing much that has been kind of confirmed. If I was on a free hit, or if I was kind of on getting a City player in, I probably would play it safe. I probably won't go for one. And then I would just kind of go for maybe a sensible pick to go for. But what I will do is that this will be the lineup as we do have it. And then I will just get this ready in case it goes down to the wire. Chris says, if Salah is benched, I'm holding you personally responsible. So that's a lot of responsibility, Chris, but you can. You know, as an FPL content creator, I'll take it on the chin. I think Carson is in for Edison. That's the other thing that I saw a little bit earlier on, is that potentially Carson will be playing in goal instead of Edison. So, I mean, that probably tells you enough to know about the potential Man City lineup. What I'll do is, if we don't get any news 1 minute left, then I'll make the transfer. And the transfer is probably going to be Rashford out for Son. I think that should be pretty good. I mean, if you guys are on a free hit, then maybe just go for Mahrez anyway, and then just potentially get some players on the bench that could potentially come on for you. So there's been no news, guys. So I'm going to be bringing in. I'm going to go for Heung-min Son because there's just too much uncertainty right now. Dayvy, if Salah's benched, I'm holding you personally. Thank you, Vincent. So you two now. Anyone else want to hold me personally responsible? G-Red saying 2 big surprises at City. Captain Kane or Salah? Kane if you want to go differential, Salah if you want to go safe. But let's get in the South Korean here. Heung-min Son. So I'm going to be locking in that transfer there. Going Rashford to Son for a -4 hit. And then he will be in the lineup. I mean, it's a better long-term move, to be honest. But I would have preferred to go for Mahrez. I've got Mahrez and captain him, can help my mini league. Good luck, Glenn. I actually hope that he starts for you, to be honest. Any player that kind of has Mahrez or Man City option, I hope that you go for it because you have kind of courage to go for it. Thanks guys for the good luck here. Should I play Brewster? Probably not. I know he is playing Everton as an ex-Liverpool player, but I wouldn't hold too much faith in him getting an attacking return there. In terms of the other positions, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with Foster and Mendy maybe being my rotation pair. They do have a nice fixture, Sheffield United here, but in terms of the other fixtures, I mean, Mendy could provide some good threats in the upcoming game weeks, and I mean, Foster could potentially play. But I'm going to hit the refresh page here, guys, 1 minute before the deadline, just to show you that the team has been locked in here, going with the Mo Salah captain, hoping that Foster starts, because, I mean, that'll be absolutely splendid for our starting 11, because otherwise we have a starting 10, and then obviously Harry Kane as my vice captain to go for. If you guys have gone for the Man City assets, good luck to you guys. I hope that it manages to pay off. The thing you must also remember is when you see the lineup, don't get too disheartened because those players can always come off the bench and potentially do well for you guys. Girat saying, time's up, pants down. We have about 10 seconds left. Jason saying, hoping Salah gets benched. Good luck. So thanks, Jason. Appreciate that. On behalf of all Salah owners and captainers. But hopefully you have a good game week too, brother. Chris saying, should I keep Smith Rowe for final game weeks? You can. I mean, at 4.2 million, not too much risk there. How much left in the bank? I think I've got about 1.2 left in the bank here. So I could have potentially done another upgrade, but it is the time up, unfortunately, for you guys. So now you can kind of forget about FPL for tonight, unless you've captained Mahrez or own Sterling or that kind of thing. But go and take a breather. This has been quite a hectic deadline. I'm not going to lie. Whenever Man City are kind of playing the first game, it's always a bit stressful. Owen saying, hoping Jason gets 20 points this week. Owen, on this Dayvy FPL community, we all optimistic and we all supportive. So I can understand why you said that though. But thanks for, as I said, joining us on a Friday evening, morning, Saturday evening, wherever you are in the world. And as I always say, hopefully the green arrows are in your guys' favor. I'm be signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.